So now we're on to March. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you missed January and February's catch-up videos, they're in the card and the description. So, March. Things carrying over from the previous months. If anyone else was doing late videos about their end of the year, favorite things and New Year goals, still was watching those in March probably. That's when I put up my ranking video, right? Of ranking all the books that I read in 2022. I was still working on my own videos. And then, more 1930s films. Let's start with movies. So, March is still sort of like trickling in 1930s films, but it really took off in April, and this month also. So, the 30s films that I'm going to mention, actually, no, wrong. No 30s films in particular that stood out to me, because I only wrote down the significant titles and ones that I wanted you to at least know about. I'm not going into details of synopses much, but in March there was a Joan Bennett collection on the Criterion channel and a number of her films. I'm not sure if all of them were going off, but most of them were going off, and so I watched the ones that I hadn't already seen yet, including some films from the 30s, and then there were also some movies from the 40s as well, since obviously she continued to make films throughout the decades. I feel like, what is it, Wild Girl is one. I don't have this written down, but that is the one that I think that's what it's called, Wild Girl. It's the one that sticks out the most to me though, because her persona is so different from when she started and what I feel like I know her more as in the 40s. What did I say? Yesterday I had this great description of these sort of different portrayals of her in a way, and I cannot even remember them now. Sassy and Something was her earlier on, and then in the 40s she's more of a sophisticated and something else woman, and it's just they're gone. The other words are gone. At least I got something for each sort of period, but it kind of a tonal shift in a way. And then in terms of some other movies, I was kind of catching up on Oscar nominations and Oscar contenders and such. I really didn't watch that many. I think I watched 3. I feel like if I don't watch something immediately, I'm still interested in the conversations that people are having around the movies, but somehow I kind of lose interest and become oversaturated with the movies, even though I haven't even seen them yet, and then I just don't care to watch them as much. I don't know what it is, but in any case, I watched Tar, and that was the standout of what I watched. Again, I can't even think of the other ones right now. In The Banshees of Inisherin and something else, and maybe another. Anyway, I really liked Tar though. I did not feel its length personally, but I was also at home, and I was able to sort of break it up to a degree. That's normal for me, I guess, to sort of break up a movie if I'm watching it around dinner time, because I may go back downstairs a couple of times depending on where we're at with dinner, and then at some point I will pause it if I'm still in the middle of a movie and we haven't cleaned up the kitchen yet. I'm in charge of cleaning dishes, so I try not to wait too long. I did end up sort of breaking it up a bit because I went back downstairs probably for 20 minutes at least, and even then I didn't feel like I was elongating the length of the movie by having paused it for 20 minutes and adding another 20 minutes essentially to the viewing experience. I do feel like the trailers did this a little dirty in a way. It made it. I saw one trailer for it, and then that was kind of it. Way early on though, before really anyone was seeing it. I don't even remember if it had premiered yet. But the trailer definitely highlights thriller mystery aspects, kind of a haunting, which I do feel like Lydia Tarr as a character is haunted to a degree, but it's more of a manifestation of a subconscious haunting, in my opinion. That's the way that I was interpreting it. not like a physical haunting, like as a ghost, which I feel like is what I got from the trailer, and it still didn't even tell me all that much, and I did not learn as much about the premise either before watching it. I knew people were talking about it in terms of cancel culture, but that actually kind of bothers me because I feel like that wasn't, like, that was a point that I feel like was taken too far and people were maybe like missing other aspects of it. Like, that was not the thing to focus on, in my opinion. And I do have to say, I was a little confused at the end. Like, I don't fully understand what that last scene was. Like, who was that audience? Is there something I feel like I'm missing something, especially because there are like a few Letterboxd reviews that state something about the ending and that audience, that scenario that she's in now. But I don't get it. I don't know. And then another film from the movie marathon that I have every month, we watched, it was a rewatch for me, but we watched Three Colors Blue. I liked it more this time around. I think it helped that we had watched The Double Life of Veronique in January, and that Kieślowski's style was just really resonating with me at the time in both January and with both movies. And I think that also maybe having already seen it before helped as well, because I knew what to expect and was less focused on what was happening and more focused on the performance and the character, what the character was going through. More of a character study rather than what's happening in terms of plot, which I feel like is what most people get from a first viewing experience, regardless of if they also like pick up on other things and focus on other things. I do think that plot is usually what is focused on the most when you're first watching a movie or show or whatever. And also Juliette Binoche, by the way, is one of my favorite actresses. And then two movies that I watched on the Criterion channel were The Living Dead Girl from 1982 and Fascination from 1979. These are both like vampiric, like light horror, I would say, from director Jean Rollin. And that also kind of brings me to Indicator. They had a sale in March, and I did make an order. However, my order did not arrive until like late April, because while I was ordering things that were on sale, I also decided to pre-order Shiver? The Shivers? The Shiver? Is it plural or not? The Shiver of the Vampire. The Vampires. I pre-ordered that, but that didn't come out till like late April, so my order was like held back until that came out. I haven't watched that yet. That's also from the same director, which is why I am mentioning it. Also, that means there are certain things that I got from Indicator that I haven't shown yet. As well as Criterion. Criterion did also have a sale in March, and I made an order. So I never ended up making a Criterion sale haul video. Will I make one? I'll probably just combine it with like summer stuff, I think. Or just talk about those movies and show them there. Oh, by the way, I did prefer Fascination over The Living Dead Girl, but I did really like both of these. I feel like I would have loved The Living Dead Girl, like, in high school, if I had watched that earlier, which I did. The other Jean Rollin film that is available from Indicator right now, 2 more have been announced, and now I'm like, oh my god, but I want those ones too. But I didn't get Two Orphan Vampires. There we go. I did not order that one because I have already seen that before. I watched it in high school and I didn't love it, and I was already like spending enough, and I figured that I'd get that later. I wouldn't mind getting the non-limited edition. If that was just a standard edition, I was okay with it, but I did want Shiver of the Vampires. So I'll probably get all of his films that are available from Indicator at some point, but now I just have one. So, and then the last movie that I have to mention is Phantom Thread. I watched this with a handful of people for Olivia at the channel Stories for Coffee, her film club called Cinebun Club. Cinebun Club, like, you know, like a Cinnabon, except Cinna, like cinema. Yes. Very cute. And every month we watch a movie. There's only been 3 so far because Phantom Thread was the first one in March. And this was, I feel like, ultimately liked by everyone who watched it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I do think on a rewatch I would like it even more because I do feel like I was a bit distracted with the chat. We're using Teleparty, so it's like on your computer screen. I think it's only available like on the computer. I don't think unless you like hooked it up to your TV, I don't think that you could like do it on the TV. You open the link, it's like the person hosting has a specific link. You open the link and you join, and then like on the screen, here's my computer screen, you have the movie, and then you have the chat going on the side. And I feel like because it was right there in the frame, I feel like I was a little bit distracted by it, as opposed to when I have my movie marathons monthly with my film group. We do it through Voxer, so like my phone is in my hand and Voxer is open, but I'm still like paying attention to the movie, and then I'll look down every once in a while. You know, if I have something to say, then I'll say it then. And just like kind of glance back and forth, but still be focused on the movie for a good number of minutes, you know? In any case, this was really good. I do think I will like it more on a rewatch. It definitely took a turn that I was not expecting. I was kind of just like, ooh, period drama. I knew that the costuming was amazing, and that like Daniel Day-Lewis, his performance was going to be great. Like, I know that it's renowned and he was nominated, and I know that Vicky Creeps, is it Creeps? I know that she was pretty acclaimed in this as well when it came out. Also though, I never watched the special features on this because we were watching like on the streaming service through the Teleparty. I did end up I was actually dog sitting at the time. I did end up taking this with me, but I didn't watch the special features, so I still have that to do. And oh my god, a fashion show. I love that. That's it. That's the last movie that I have to mention. The Cinebun Club's first pick was Phantom Thread, and what we're doing is Olivia will pick, we have a theme for every month, and then she'll kind of like nominate a certain number of films, and then we'll all vote, and whatever one wins is the one that we end up watching. And then finally, we have actual reading. So I was still probably reading The Witching Hour to some degree in March, but I think it was March when I was like, I need a break. I need to stop. I need to read other books and not just be in the middle of one book for months. So the first other book that I read in March was Winter in Sokcho by Elisa Shua Dusapin. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure how you say her name, but here's the cover. This is the cover sideways. Obviously, it looks like a postcard. This is alright. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like this would maybe like resonate more in film format. It gave me, like, if this was adapted, it would be like Lost in Translation. I feel like that's a good comparison. And I just feel like the vibes of that work better kind of visually, like adding some more aesthetics to it. Which actually, in terms of plot, that's also a good comparison, because this is about, wait, is she even named? What's the main character's name? I don't even know if she has a name. I'm not remembering a name at all. There's a main character, a young woman who works at a hotel in Sokcho, which is like a smaller like village. It's not in the city. Very, very different. I don't know how else to like describe it. So she's currently living in Sokcho and working at this hotel, and this one French older man comes to work on his comic series, and he's staying at the hotel, and they kind of form a sort of friendship. But she's also like dealing with a lot of other things. Her boyfriend, who she doesn't really like, wants them to move to Seoul, and he wants to be a model, and he wants to be like closer to everything that he would be, the places that he would be working. And he's also getting like plastic surgery done, and then everyone keeps commenting how she should have some plastic surgery done. Like her mom mentioned something, her aunt mentioned something. She also has not a great relationship with food, so if that's something that you're like sensitive to, you may want to like check out more specific like trigger warnings and stuff, because she just like uncontrollably eats whenever she's around her mom, and that's kind of the only time she ever eats in the book. I mean, it's very short. I finished it in a day, and it has a lot of spacing. Like the lines have a good amount of spacing, and then every section starts on this page, so the side is sometimes left blank. Really short sections, they're not like numbered, there's not like chapters necessarily. That's the gist of it. I don't know exactly how I feel about this though, and I did write probably more in my Goodreads review, so I'll link that in the description, but mostly I'm gonna try not to go on and on about this. Technically, where's my paper? Over here. Oh no, oh my god. Something that I forgot to mention for February was that it was Sasha's first book for the Cinephiles Reading Club, whatever you want to call it, I guess. Sasha from the channel Sasha Raquel, she mainly talks about movies, but she has gotten into reading. Like last year she really got into reading, I'm pretty sure it was, and so she started kind of like talking about books a little bit, mostly like showing some stuff on her Instagram and stuff, and she decided on her Discord that she was going to start a book club, and initially she was going to do like live shows, but her plans and schedules have not added up for that to happen yet. Kind of a rough start, but it's okay. Just saying, she doesn't have it all like down yet in case you wanted to join. The first book technically was in February, but I didn't actually read it in February. I mostly read it in March, and I didn't actually finish it until like April 3rd, and that was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. By the way, I have the UK edition, so it has this like nice holographic dust jacket. Yes. I specifically wanted this one, the holographic dust jacket. I didn't love this. Everyone seems to love it, and I don't get it, to be honest. I don't. Sasha didn't like it that much either. I'm not sure if she rated it a 2 or a 3, but I rated it a 3 out of 5 because I at least like appreciated what was in the book and maybe what Gabrielle Zevin was like trying to do, but I just did not really enjoy the book. And is this like in focus? I feel like this is just a mess. So if you don't know what this is about, it starts off with Sadie and Sam being like in middle school, and they meet each other in the a rec room of the hospital, playing video games, and they bond over playing this video game. It's 1987. Yes, 1987 is when they meet. It's a time of their lives where they both like really need another person to talk to in a way, and because they find this connection over video games, they form a friendship, and that friendship lasts for a short period of time overall, and then they kind of have a fight and don't talk to each other again for 6 years. And then it's like their freshman year of college, and they bump into each other, see each other like on the sidewalk, and then Sadie gives Sam her video game that she has started designing, that she made, and that's what she's going to school for, and that's not what Sam is going to school for, but it's what he like would prefer to do. And through that interaction, their friendship is rekindled, and they end up making video games together, and it follows the next, it goes back and forth in time quite a bit, but at the same time it goes through, I want to say until like their late 30s. I can't remember exactly how old they are like towards the end. I want to say late 30s is like when, maybe mid 30s, but I want to say like mid to late 30s is when the book ends. So you're following them through like a good amount of time. Sam was in the hospital because he and his mother were in a car crash. His mother unfortunately died, and his foot was crushed, and he throughout his life has to get these like surgeries and checkups to make sure everything's going well with his foot. So that's something that he's dealing with a lot. Not only this like physical disability, but also grieving his mother. And he lives with his grandparents because his father, he doesn't really have a relationship with his father. Sadie, she doesn't really have too much in terms of like things that she's dealing with from the past, but in the present, college Sadie decides to start a relationship with her professor who is also a video game designer, and I hate their relationship. His name's Dov. He's no, I want to say he's not that great of a person, but it's only mostly with that pairing of him and Sadie. Like, he was doing things and Sadie was fully like not comfortable with it. Like, just consent, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I don't really care. Okay, I do to an extent care what your kinks are, because if it's something like super weird and like illegal, like black markety, like go to therapy, role play, but like mostly don't really care what your kinks are. It just has to be consensual, okay? And with Sadie, clearly she was not really giving full consent to things. And so that's like something that Sadie is dealing with, her relationship with Dov. Lots of power dynamics there that come into play. And Sadie and Sam like keep saying that they know each other really well, but they're like not communicating, and that is one of my least favorite things in books. And this is not YA, but it just made me think of like all the YA books that conflicts happen like just because these characters are not talking to each other, or because like someone overhears something and jumps to a conclusion, or sees something and jumps to a conclusion, and then they don't end up having a conversation. I really hate that. And Sadie and Sam kept doing that. In particular, Sadie was doing that like quite a bit. I can think of like a few moments where that kind of thing happens and then they like don't end up talking. That's the exact opposite of what should be happening right now, Sadie. You should be having a conversation with him. So I just found them really frustrating as characters, and I didn't really like them. And while I like a lot of the incorporation of like so many things into this book, like I really like that, but I just didn't care for the characters, and I feel like that hindered my experience. While I can appreciate what she was trying to do and everyone else seems to love it, the only thing I loved about this book was like Max. Max was like easily my favorite character, the best character, but he was such a side character also. Okay, spoiler really quickly. Obviously, if anyone was gonna die in this, it was gonna be him, okay? He was so like side character, kind of like the boy version of like a manic pixie dream girl who like helps them get together in certain ways and like shows them that they need each other, and then he dies. You know what I mean? I really didn't like that. Okay, no more spoilers. I don't know if I'm gonna do something on the screen there, but while my hand was up, that was spoiler territory. But lots of trigger warning stuff. Like, again, so much is packed into this book, so definitely look into anything if you need to. I do want to say, is it long? I don't know. There's definitely some moments that probably could have been taken out of here, I'll say. And I love long books, but I feel like because, maybe it's just because I wasn't loving it, that I was like, can we get on? But I still wanted to finish it. Like, I was interested enough where I was like, I still want to completely read the thing. 3 out of 5. I feel like I mostly have complaints, but again, I appreciate what is incorporated into this and what she was going for, and definitely interested in what else she will be working on next. I have read Elsewhere from her, which is a YA book. I read that in high school. Interesting concept too. So, and by the way, you don't need to like be into video games or know about video games in order to like read this or enjoy this. Maybe yeah, I didn't really think about that before. But it could also be a reason why I didn't love it so much. I definitely while I think the concepts of their video games were interesting, I'm not like a video game person, and I much preferred the character stuff that was going on here. So when they were talking video game talk and when it was focusing on the video games themselves as opposed to how the video games and the creation of the games were like influencing their lives, that's what I preferred over just sole video game stuff. Sorry, I don't remember how I like started that sentence in terms of my phrasing, so there we go. That's gonna be right there, and I think that's it for March. I definitely talked more than I meant to, but there we go. If you've read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, definitely let me know what you thought of it. Yeah, 3 down, 2 to go. April's next.